So that takes us to our final wild card playoff game, Monday Night Football, and it's a banger. I've got to say, Vikings at the Rams. Paul, why don't you lead us on this one?
So the Vikings, interesting story with the Vikings is that their season could end on two pretty much identical moments that have happened throughout their season. So they lost to the Lions earlier in the year, and yeah, it was their only defeats, in fact. So they lost to the Lions earlier in the year, and then travelled to the Rams, and nobody gave the Rams a shot in that moment because the Vikings were tearing up the league. Okay, they lost to the Lions, but that's the Lions. And the Rams pulled it out, and Stafford played out of his mind.
Got his weapons back that Thursday night. Got Cup back. Got Nakua back. It was
Yeah,
a good moment to get them back.
yeah. And so fast forward now, the Vikings lose to the Lions in a pretty disappointing performance, to be honest. It was kind of close early, but then that game got out of hand in the second half. And yeah, they did not look great in that second half. And then how demoralizing is that? Because now they have to go on the road to the Rams to then possibly go back to the Lions next week, and the Lions being rested. Um, Darnold was not good last week, and Darnold, I like to go with the quarterbacks in playoff matchups, and Matthew Stafford has been their Super Bowl winner, coached by Sean McVay, who has had the answers for this Flores defensive scheme before. And that's the narrative, but it's also backed up by the stats and the history of it that Flores has had major trouble with his defensive scheme against Ben Johnson and Sean McVay. Well, and that happened earlier in the regular season, and this could be the way that their season ends on Monday night. And the Rams now, I think they're a better team than they had problems earlier in the year, but they've now got a pretty good running game. Their rookies on defense have now seemed to have matured, and they've got quite a few good players on defense. They've won the last few games as well that they've been involved in, like in close, low scoring defensive kind of struggles where Stafford hasn't had to carry it. And this running back, Kyron Williams, is really damn good. But the Vikings, if Darnold just plays a 7 out of 10, then you say that the Vikings win because they're a better football team. The stats back this up through everything that they've done this year. They've just been unfortunate that they're in the same division as the Detroit Lions. Any other year, they should be the number one seed in the NFC. They should be sat at home watching these matchups, but they're not. And I'm just going to go back to, I think that last week, I think they put a lot into that last week against the Lions. And I think they're pretty demoralized after losing that. To go to the Rams rested a lot of guys last week. They're ready. They've beaten the Vikings before, and they've got playoff Matt Stafford if he turns up. But it's in his locker somewhere, Matt Stafford. And they've got Sean McVay, who has had the answers for this Flores defensive scheme before. Yeah, I'm going with the Rams. I just think that the Vikings are they're going to be reeling after that Detroit loss. And if you go with conventional wisdom, you say that the Vikings are a better roster, but I think that emotion is a huge part of football. And a lot of football is effort, a lot of football is mental, and I say that the Rams pull it out and beat the Vikings for a second time and end their season.
Very interesting. This game, I think this could be probably the best game of the week, the way that it's set up. Master versus the apprentice. It is McVay versus someone from McVay's tree in Kevin O'Connell.
Yeah, I didn't even go into that. Yeah.
So McVay is going to know everything that O'Connell is going to bring at him from an offensive standpoint as well. On top of what you said, Paul, the fact that Brian Flores has struggled against McVay, and the Rams, like, sort of in the passing game, I think they've been struggling as of late. Not quite firing on all cylinders, but the run game might carry them in this one. Jahmyr Gibbs had 4 touchdowns last week. 4 against the Vikings, who we feel have done well defensively, under Flores. I don't necessarily think it's the most superstar-laden defense, but they've certainly played up underneath him. But man, like Gibbs went crazy against them. And Kyron Williams, like you said, is a great back. He could do the exact same damage this week. So if that happens, Stafford is going to get opportunities that he's just not going to miss. But for the Vikings offensively, Darnold didn't play well. He overthrew a number of opportunities for touchdowns. It was really weird. He felt the pressure of the moment, and that does scare me. And I think it was also interesting. Kevin O'Connell going for it on 4th down several times. He's not afraid of going for it on 4th down, but he's not that guy like Dan. It's almost like he was trying to one up Dan Campbell. Like, you're going to go for 4th down, so I will. Maybe they should have taken a few of those field goals early on. So it's a question of, will Darnold show up? Because we've seen him in hostile environments this year. He went into Seattle and absolutely lit them up. Now, Seattle's defense isn't bad. I'm not saying it's Legion of Boom, but it's not bad.
Sam Darnold is a playoff rookie.
Wow. Wowza.
It's not a hostile home field, but he's still a playoff rookie. And last week, you kind of think was like it was a playoff game.
It was.
Division rival in their house, hostile environment. Yeah, he's a rookie. He's a playoff rookie. Well, of course he was. Of course he is. He played on the Jets and
the Panthers.
Yeah.
This is like one of those for the Vikings where they almost have to go up first. I don't know if they'll be good coming from behind in this game, but is Darnold going to play badly 2 weeks in a row? It's possible. I don't think so, though. I think Darnold will show up in this one. And the Lions, I've got to admit, I thought that the Vikings were going to put up a lot of points in that game. So for them to put up, 9?
Yeah.
Yeah, that is concerning, very concerning. But they are a 14-win team. Probably the first 14-win wildcard team we've ever seen. And the Rams have done well, but won a bad division at the end of the day.
Yeah.
They've won a bad division, snatched a few games, a la 49ers at home, 49ers on the road. The Vikings, if they play at their maximum or somewhere close to that, they certainly won't at that last week. Can the Rams stop Jefferson, who I just continue to be just blown away by? Like, he's got good quarterback play this year, but it's almost like he doesn't have good quarterback play. His team, like his receiving teammates aren't there. He's getting doubled. It doesn't matter because he still makes plays. That's a big problem for the Rams. I say this is going to be ultra high scoring, shootout type of game. Stafford turns up, Darnold turns up. It almost might be whoever gets the ball last. But I'm going to say that the Vikings, yeah, they're going to want to come back a lot better than they showed last week. So I think they'll be motivated to do that. And I say the Vikings advance. But yeah, this is a scary one. I could definitely see the Rams pulling it off on the last possession.